But the iron sights, they're
Suck.
not quite as easy to see
They
anymore.
suck. They suck. Red dots all damn day. I mean, I love it, but if I grab a gun with iron sights, it's almost spraying and praying.
If you had to take a wild guess, how many red dot sights do you think you have?
That you could probably take the boxes and put it from New York to England and walk across them and not get your feet wet.
Matt, thanks a lot for having us here today.
No problem.
Your place is incredible, and thanks for being a guest on the Aimpoint Taking Aim podcast.
Anytime.
We love it. Before we get into all the cool stuff that we're surrounded by, I want to talk about what got you started with collecting.
So when I was about 10 or 12, my uncle is the one that really got me started. I went to his house, visited him in Iowa, and he had all these cool stuff that goes bang and stuff that, that you don't see normally at a gun store whatsoever, class 3 stuff. And I was like, I'm kind of digging this, and he let me play with it, and I was like, this would be fun. So then I get home and I start taking my BB guns, cutting them, doing crazy shit with them, just to make them cooler to me.
Yeah.
And that's basically where the rabbit hole started for me.
That's very cool. With me, it was baseball cards. You went straight into firearms.
Oh yeah, straight into firearms. Always been that way. And I couldn't really, teenager, you don't have a lot of money, you have jobs, you got to have school, you got college and everything else. So I was mainly in the car, scene a lot, because cars, anything that's got wheels on it, I'll drive it. I don't care if it's even got tracks, I'll drive it. So I went down that rabbit hole of cars then. And of course, cars are not a good investment unless it's a rarity. You want off Ferrari or something like that.
Drive it off the lot.
You drive it off the lot, it takes a tank. But no, that's what, and then the car stuff turned into, well, then I got older and wiser, not spending my money on stupid crap, and started buying guns because it's a better investment than a car.
And I know it's been a couple decades that you've been acquiring your collection, and everything is very nicely displayed.
Right.
Like some collectors are more like hoarders, where their stuff, they don't even know what they have, and it's scattered all over the place. Opposite of that, your approach, everything is on display. You can enjoy it. You could show it off.
Right.
It's really cool. But what was sort of what you started with, or when you decided that you were going to have this really impressive collection?
When I've got so many guns, I can't put them in a safe.
Yeah.
Is where it got started. Because my old house, I had maybe 15 guns, 20 guns, and I got tired of going into a safe and trying to find the gun I wanted. You bang them together and everything else, and you end up pulling them all out. And so I did a similar display to this, and I put that in that house, and I could just walk up to it and grab it. I didn't have to. The ammo is always in the safe, is what I always did. It just seemed smarter to me. I mean, I took the mags out and put the mags in with the ammo. So to me, it seemed, in my head, safer.
Yeah.
But that was 10, 15 years ago when I was doing all that. So that's basically why I started doing it this way. Then I got into buying more guns. Well, there's not very many safes. I don't want to have 50 safes. I mean, what's the biggest safe right now? I can hold a couple hundred guns. I mean, I got 600. How many safes is that going to take?
Probably the room we're in is one of the biggest safes I've been in.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So it made it a lot easier. So that's the reason I went down that road of displaying, is mainly because I got tired of trying to pick out the one I wanted. What
was a couple of the early guns that you got that you were really excited about that sort of lit that spark?
The Barrett, the 50 cal. That was my first big one. You're talking about 10 grand for a gun, and that's a lot of money, a shit ton of money. That's a car.
Yeah.
Basically, nice used car. And you go in there and you're walking out in 10 minutes with a 50 cal, which is nuts to me, which I didn't care, but it was still cool because it's a 50. So there's old videos of me out there someplace of me shooting because I was so proud of it. So that was the one that really started the going down the rabbit hole of buying more shit, because I have a syndrome of small guy, like big bore guns. So there's an issue there. It's got to be.
I don't think there's an issue. I think it's fine.
So yeah, I'm surprised I own a tank yet, because just big bore guns are cool. And the 50, the Barrett, you see in Call of Duty and everything else, everybody, that kind of thing. And it kind of drew me all in a little bit. Then I started, I played Call of Duty, and when I was, younger, I mean, I stopped playing that a long time ago, but then you go down that rabbit hole of, ooh, I want that gun. But then I end up owning all of those guns. Yeah, which is kind of cool.
Your collection is pretty eclectic too. I mean,
Agreed.
You have a lot of stuff. Why don't you talk about sort of the different genres or the different styles of guns that you like to collect?
Are you talking calibers, or are you talking
not
or
calibers,
just
but gun type, basically?
So as far as, it kind of varies. I'll buy stuff that your average person will not buy. I mean, I bought down to $150 guns to, $25,000 guns that I've bought. So that's kind of a tough question because I look at more calibers than I do stuff. If the gun's kind of like a pivot gun, which is cool, like your corner shot that I have around here someplace. I dig that because it's not your average person would just buy that because it's not practical.
It's unique, right?
Yeah.
Is that the appeal?
Yeah, that's the appeal because it's not, your average person not going to. You can't just go out and buy corner shots all daggone day. And who would?
Yeah.
Not a lot of people would. Maybe SWAT teams. You've seen them.
Yes.
So I mean, they're okay. They're different. But I saw one my first time. It was on TV, and I saw it at SHOT Show way before YouTube. I thought, that'd be cool to have. I want one, and I never thought I'd own one.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. So that's a good example of different. If it's weird, I'll buy it.
They serve a very unique purpose, those corner shots.
Yeah, they do.
But in that purpose, there's nothing better.
Yeah, the same person that you and I both know told me to sight one of those in. You shoot a grouping off the screen. Don't go by the X on there because you can't zero those guns. And you put a Sharpie on, and that's wherever the grouping is, you put a Sharpie on the screen, and that's your crosshair.
Interesting.
Yeah.
One of the most unique things I've seen with you kind of showing me your collection today is the John Wick safe.
Yeah.
And it is crazy cool. I'll let you talk about it because what I know about it is just the tip of the iceberg. Talk about that safe and what makes it so unique.
That safe is because they were going to make 10 of them. That stopped because they got a copyright issue from Lionsgate. I think it was about, they were supposed to build 10. They got a cease and desist, and they only built 4. This came to my attention through another friend of mine. Said, hey, this is available. I talked to the boss, and she's like, yeah, let's get it. And I said, you sure? I said, I saw a 6-figure price tag. And she says, I don't care. I'm like, okay. I said, so we dig into this more. Then it turned back. It wasn't going to happen. It was going to happen. And the price went up and all this other kind of crap. But so there's only 4. I've got one. I've got serial number 3. Post Malone's got one, serial number 1. Somebody's got, and I heard somebody in Vegas has one. Somebody in Florida has one. A doctor or a casino owner. That's what I've heard. I don't know if that's true or not. But anyway, then I had the guy who built the safes actually out here for something else, and he came out here to visit. And he actually told me this is the one that was actually displayed at SHOT Show for the first year because it still has the holes because they used to drop it from the top. So technically, I guess Post Malone maybe got serial number 1, or did I? Jury's still out.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but it came with all the guns, and we can show it later. The rollout couch. Real marble in it. It took 8 guys and 2 bobcats. Luckily, I had landscapers here working with bobcats. So I actually said, can I borrow your bobcats to move this thing? So it was perfect timing. Took a professional safe company that did the safe door to bring it in and everything else, because there's not a lot of guys that can just move, 3,000-4,000 pound safe. So, but then the marbles in it, then they came with all the guns. I can't remember the amount of guns are in there.
Was it up through like what John Wick?
All the way up to 3, if memory serves me right. It could be just 1 and 2. I can't remember off the top of my head. That's a good question. To be safe, we'll say 1 and 2.
I got another question that might stump you. How many firearms do you think you own?
600.
Yeah, that's like me. 600.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's up there, and I'm including the antiques. I'm including everything that we have. But that was a big kick when to get this one. There's guns in there that, it's all Terran. He did all the guns for him, obviously. There was guns in there I didn't even know they were in the movie. Like there's a white one in there, 10 mil, and you have to pause it in the movie because it's just right there. You have to pause it. I was like, that can't be right, but I found it. People found it for me. So yeah, it's a cool purchase, that's for sure. Basically, when we started YouTube, that was a really big kick because we always feature it every time a movie comes out. So.
And with this, it sounds like you sort of, I'm pointing this, there's a safe is right over there that we're talking about. You sought that out specifically, right?
Well, it came to my attention. I knew they were out there, but it's one of the things I didn't know was going to get on my radar. I didn't think it was going to be available because I knew that there's people with more money than I could possibly have that may jump on it, pay more.
Sure.
If you know what I mean. But no, it was a purchase that it had to happen because the boss said so.
Yeah, I know what that's like.
Thanks.
But since you have such an extensive collection, you have a lot of people that contact you like, hey, we have this estate sale. Are you interested in purchasing this lot of firearms? Or
right.
So it's not always you seeking things out. Some people are actually coming to you.
Right. I've made purchases that way. I've gone to gun auctions where, and it was before YouTube. I haven't done, well, I've done some auctions during YouTube, but before YouTube, I've gone to some, bought the whole lot, but I knew the people that had the guns before. So I knew what they had.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I jumped on it. But I've done some mistakes on auctions. Mm-hmm. We'll say, like, there's a Gatling gun I bought that I accidentally bought. That I bought it while I was having breakfast.
Were you like stretching?
No, I did it online. It was
sold.
It was online. It was online at Rock Island, and I was eating breakfast at the place I go to before I go to the ranch. And they give you a variance between. It's going to be it's going to go the lowest 14 grand, the highest 25 grand. I just threw 14 on it. Then walked away from it. Didn't even think about it. Sure shit, I won it. And I had to explain to the boss. Yeah, I kind of screwed up.
You mentioned your YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
If someone's not at all familiar with YouTube, they might not know about your YouTube channel.
Right.
Talk a little bit about that, when you started it, how much it's grown, and sort of what type of things they can expect to find on your channel.
Well, it's kind of funny. I wasn't ever planning on doing YouTube. It wasn't my thing. It was never on my radar. It's always been cars on my radar. So I never really think that was ever going to happen. And then we built the gun range and in the house, and the company Action Target reached out to me. Hey, we want to do a video on your range for inside houses for our channel. I said, sure, that's fine. Come on out. And they came out, and the two guys did. They came out and they saw down here. This room was done and the other room was done, but the other vault room was not done. And they said, why don't you have a YouTube channel? And I said, who would want to see this? And I'm like, they're like, everybody. I said, really? I take it for granted. I guess it's a naive person in me. And so I said, okay, I'll think about it. So they did the video for Action Target. I got like 1.4 million views fairly quickly. And I said to myself, maybe there is kind of something here. And then I kept in touch with those guys. And make a long story short, about 2 years later, I talked it over with the boss, and like, there's some things that I'm not sure if I want out there or not. And so we did it anyway. And he said, and then my video guy says, let me do one video for you. If it takes off, then you got to keep doing it. I'm like, okay. So it took off. And so what you mainly find on my channel is, a lot of people like the channel because of the guns, naturally. And on YouTube, that's not very easy to have the gun stuff. But other people like seeing some of the other collections, like the watches I have, the guns, the cars, some of the toys I have, sometimes even the puppies. They want to see
this
the
is
puppies.
a Citizen, by the way. I saw you eyeing it earlier. But
yeah, I kind of dig it. No, I was digging it.
We could work out a trade later on.
Yeah, I'll trade you my Apple Watch for that. Not my Rolex, but no, I dig those kind of watches. I don't know why, but it's just something like that just catches my eye.
That brings up a good question, because a lot of the stuff you have is like made out of unobtainium for most people, right?
Right.
But you also have some firearms that are in the budget for a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
Maybe toward the higher end, but like I saw some Nighthawks and stuff like that. So what is it about certain guns that aren't quite as unique? I love Nighthawk, don't get me wrong, but it's not like some of the other super rare guns you have. So what makes you buy some of the guns that are more mainstream?
If I dig it, I buy it.
Okay.
If I like it, I buy it. I have shirts that say that. Because I'll go in and I say, oh, that's cool. And they would say, I don't care if it's $500. I do, but I don't. It's just, it doesn't have to be a $10,000 gun for me to dig it. It could be a $200 gun. I've got some Keltecs laying around here. I got an integrally suppressed one.
Unusual.
Yeah. And it's unusual, and it's integrally suppressed, and I can keep it in my ranch. And for integrally suppressed 9mm that you can keep in a ranch for $1,000, to me, it's a bargain.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be an expensive gun. It could just be unique looking, and I want it, like a double barrel AR, which I have, or a double barrel 1911, which is very, very cool because it's unique, and not your average person will just go buy it because it's not practical.
Yeah.
Because people are not buying that for self-defense.
Now, speaking of practical and self-defense, what types of firearms do you? You got unlimited choices for home defense, but let's say concealed carry. What type of a firearm would you concealed carry?
My Glock 19. I keep a Combat Master Glock 19.
That works.
Yeah, I've had that. I have my same original one that I've had since when the Glock 19 came out. What year was that? I don't even remember. I still have it. It's not my standard carry now. I grab it. I know where it's at. It used to be a police issued one. I know that for a fact.
Well, I was a cop for 26
Right.
years, and all I ever carried my whole career as a duty gun was a Glock.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I became a gun writer and started handling all these different guns, every one of them felt completely foreign to me.
Right.
Because I had just I learned to shoot as a cop, and that's all I carried. So yeah, I'm very much a fan of Glocks, the simplicity I like. And of course, there's other companies that have kind of taken what Glock's done and maybe used their blueprint and tweaked it. And now they can do things, hate to say better because Glocks are perfect, right? But a little bit better. And also, or I shouldn't say better, but more features that you would expect to pay additionally for if you were to purchase a Glock.
Right.
And so, because they're not starting at ground zero like Glock did. Glock was absolutely revolutionary.
Oh yeah.
And so
I remember when they came out, it was ridiculous.
But and they work. The reason why they're so popular is because they run and they're essentially cop proof. You know what I mean? So
exactly. So that's. But everybody's like, "What's your favorite gun?" Well, it depends what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But it's my go-to. Be my 19.
What about as far as a scoped rifle or a long gun?
Well, I have an Noveske 300 Blackout that is basically next to my bed, suppressed, with all the goodies on it and the lights, you name it. But that's a tough one. You talk about long range or like carbine, or you talk about what?
Let's talk about long range.
Long range. I've gone back and forth from Schmidt and Bender to Night Force. I've played with the new Night Force and I kind of dig it a lot. It's on my new Shy-Tech. I like that one a lot because Schmidt and Bender's glass, and I've heard different rumors about Schmidt and Bender. Because once you start in the YouTube industry, then you get in the gun, you learn a lot of different things that's happening that not your normal consumer would know. And I'm thinking, and then I find out like some things about Schmidt and Bender and everything else, and then I'm like, I don't want to do that. And then I play with the Night Force and I dig it a lot more, I think, and it's cheaper.
And do you, if you're going to go out shooting purely for entertainment, just to have a good time, what will you shoot? We shoot a carbine, a pistol, revolver, long.
A carbine. I'll get the Aimpoint, the C2, and I put that on. I run that on my carbine.
Love that.
I have that on my. I have like 5 or 6 carbines, and all of them have C2s on them. I think. Usually a 10 mil or 9. I love my 10 mils that you and I were talking about earlier today. I have C2s on those, and without a doubt, I take that. I do have one. I had it. I was shooting against Lena. We were doing a walk back. That drill, you know what I'm talking about? You would shoot one round, you hit the target, you keep walking back. And I was 150 yards and I hit it with that it was not an easy shot with a 9 mil carbine. And I had a C2 on that and it nailed it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's how I beat Lena, thank God.
Those pistol caliber carbines are very handy.
Yes.
For a home defense gun, especially if someone doesn't train as much as we do.
Yeah.
It really gives them an advantage over a pistol as far as the extra points of contact that make it so much easier to shoot. And the recoil is very insignificant.
Right. Minimal.
So yeah, I'm really a big fan of those. And yeah, the C2 is awesome.
Right. And I shoot a lot of frange too.
Yeah.
Especially if I have that in the house.
Yeah. So let's switch gears again. There's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
Your indoor range here.
Yes.
What was the idea behind that? I mean, most people don't wake up and say, you know what, I think I'm going to build a range in my house.
Yeah, that was kind of a fluke. It's kind of funny, actually. The hallway was already there. So when we bought the house, the guy was going to put a bowling alley in. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. And me and the boss talked about it a few times. And, we'd rather, cars are not a great value. And we think it'd be more fun just building a range. So we looked into it and I thought I could do it myself. Bad idea. Because the rabbit hole I was going down, it was going to cost, it'd be so much money. It'd be cheaper to hire somebody to do it.
Yeah.
And she doesn't trust my engineering enough to let me do that. So, which is fair. So we've hired somebody who actually does it for a living. And they didn't do a lot of them at the time, I believe. So yeah, the hallway was there. We ended up saying, we just said next day, we were down there. I can't remember what we were doing. She says, let's just build a range. I'm like, okay.
Twist my arm.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. So I made the phone calls. They came out. They had an engineer come out, do all the stuff, and figure out how to do it to where, get no ricochets back and everything else. And it was 2 semis worth of steel coming out. It was like 24,000 pounds of steel, 6,000 pounds of rubber.
Wow.
Took the guys a good month to install it, which was pretty cool to see how it was done. The ventilation was the biggest thing.
That's key.
That's key.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you saw it on the front of the house, I got 2 big exhaust fans that you see on top of restaurants on the roofs. And that's what we used to push everything out. And so the whole system just basically pushes everything down the range and up. We did it with I had some 37 millimeter canisters that we tried to shoot down there just to see where the airflow would go. Yeah. So my neighbors like me, thank God. They kind of dig it a lot. Actually, they've been over to shoot quite a few times. But yeah, it's rated. We shoot the 50 cal belt fed in there, which is dumb because it's a 30-yard range. But you get my mom, who's 89 years old. She loves that gun. She'll come down here, and I got to get the butterflies because she's got arthritic fingers really bad, and she'll just hit those butterflies, and she likes because her butt scoots back. Yeah. That's what my mom likes. So,
when I was a firearms instructor at the police department, everyone assumed, oh, you're training all the time. You're shooting all the time because you're a firearms instructor. No, I'm not. I'm helping people or qualifying people or whatever I'm doing all the time to get to shoot that much. Is it sort of the same with you having an indoor range, or are you actually using it on a pretty frequent basis?
I'll be surprised if I'm down there. Now, let me rewind a little bit. If I'm getting ready for a YouTube video, if we're going to do, and I'm prepping guns, yes, I'll be using a lot. But it may be 2 or 3 weeks before I'm down there. I'm not down there all the time. I kind of take it for granted, to be honest with you. You kind of do because, it's just, it's down there. You can grab a gun anytime I want. I did one video. It was kind of cool. Not everybody can grab an M1 Garand in their PJs and go down your indoor gun range and shoot off, a clip with an M1 Garand. I did that video, and people was like, "That's pretty baller," which is kind of cool when you put it that way. But I like I said, I take it for granted because it's there. It's not going anywhere. Nobody can take it.
Yeah.
So, it's not that big a deal.
I write gun articles in my underwear, but that's not quite as exciting.
No, I'm sure they're pretty small articles. But anyway, no, it's nice because when the weather's shit, I can go down there.
No, that's perfect.
I don't have to go there.
It's so convenient.
It's very, very convenient. And I wanted something that I can have buddies if they need to call on the police department. It's got shooting under stress, got all the programs in it. You could do charging drills. You could do whatever you want.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the specific brand that it is and things like that, or
as far as the range?
Yeah.
I mean, Action Target did a pretty good job. I got to give them credit. They said this is the ones they usually put in, not an indoor range. They don't usually put this. But yeah, they did a really good job with it. I got to give them some props with that. And then they changed some things later on down the road. That's pretty cool. There's things I added on that they now added on, but it wasn't they didn't take it from me. I just put GoPros on it so I can see where I'm hitting the target. Yeah. That's the only reason I did it.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But no, they did I got to give them credit. They did a really good job. I learned a lot about lead.
Yeah.
It's one of those things when they first did it, usually they have a machine that goes down the range and shifts through the rubber because it's loose rubber. They had to do it the old-fashioned way, which is a leaf blower and a rake. Never seen that done before. And I learned a lot. And I found 1,500 rounds of 50 cal in there too, at the same time in an indoor, which is so dumb, but it's fun at the same time.
Yeah. Was there a lot of red tape when you were building the range?
No. I believe in doing first, ask and ask for forgiveness later.
Yeah, that's the easiest way to go.
No harm, no foul. Half the people in my neighborhood are military or ex-military or ex-cops or ex-CIA. Yeah, I'm not going to get any crap. Yeah.
You also have, because having an indoor range at your house is not enough, you also have a ranch,
right,
where you can do shooting out to a mile?
Yeah, mile. We're working on 1.5 miles.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
And you have some plans for that as far as building out ranges and stuff there.
Oh yeah, the mile we're at 1 mile, 1250, 1,000, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, all the way up to 100, and the long range stuff. And you have a separate 100-yard range that that's the most recent thing. We're making it big enough to where you can put cars, shoot from cars. You can almost do it. You can actually drive through there and shoot if you wanted to at this point. I'd like to add on to it eventually down the road and make it 300 feet by 300 feet so you can just double it. So if anybody wanted to do a training course out there, I'd let them do it, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
If the cops want to come qual or whatever. Then I got a separate pistol range that we call it the train station just because you have to drive to it. And it's kind of funny because it's Yellowstone. So, and I'd like to build another one next to it. It's things, it's moving dirt. I learned a lot about, the way water moves.
Yeah.
Because where the ranch is, you got a lot of, the way the water moves in a lot of those areas with erosion, it's pretty not fun.
I actually talked to someone who designs ranges, and there's a lot more to it than you might think.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to go to the range and you're going to be in a puddle up to, mid calf.
Luckily, it's all in who you know anymore. It's not what you know, it's who you know in a lot of things. Luckily, I have a guy that has a bunch of heavy equipment, and that's what he does is build roads, and he knows a lot about that. So he'd be like, why'd you do this? You're going to have water here, 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 and here. And I'm like, okay, boss, I'll let you do it. So I make him do it. I start it, and he screws up. He fixes my screw ups. So, and gives me a lot of crap for it, but it works out.
I know you're a fan of red dot sights. When I was looking around your collection, I saw quite a few Aimpoints, by the way. But what's your technique or whatever, or your philosophy on zeroing? Like, let's take a pistol. How do you zero a red dot on pistol? Is there a particular distance you like to do it from? Or
this is a rabbit. I mean, this is all depends on the person, I think, and the shooter. I mean, I've done it at 7. I've done it at 10 on pistols, carbines. I do it at 30 on carbines.
Yeah.
And then, I work it out from there. But mainly for pistols, for sure, 7 to 10 yards. Yeah. Because they say, like you said, you were trained for it.
Yeah.
And most engagements start off that short of a distance. So that's the reason I do it.
Yeah. I'm a fan of that as well. I do 10 yards for my pistols.
Right.
And then I'll reconfirm like 25 yards to see if we're in the same ballpark or what might be happening.
Right.
But you're right. I mean, a lot of that could be tailored to, well, what's your specific needs? Obviously, the firearm type is a big consideration.
Oh, yeah.
But then what do you think your perceived needs will be
and
and all that? So you and I are the same age.
Yes.
And I don't know if you've experienced it yet, but
that's ought to be good.
The irons, I'm not going there.
Yeah.
But the iron sights, they're not quite as easy to see anymore.
They suck. Red dots all damn day.
Yep.
Hate it. I mean, I love it, but I hate it at the same time. But if I grab a gun with iron sights, it's almost spraying and praying.
Yeah.
To a point. Yeah. I mean, I got to look down the barrel.
Well,
I'm on the edge.
The bad guy, at 25 yards or whatever. But as far as trying to, for an article, shoot a tight group that the manufacturer is going to be proud of, it's not going to be me with iron sights at 25.
That's why I like long range, because you got a scope that helps you see.
I saw one of your videos, and you had a bunch of empty boxes for red dots that you have. If you had to take a wild guess, how many red dot sights do you think you have?
That you could probably take the boxes and put it from New York to England and walk across them and not get your feet wet. Is basically what I could tell you. Yeah, is what I could tell you.
Fair enough.
Then I look at the dollar amount. So that's one thing I do.
Yeah, because you
got to look at the dollar amount. And what I do is take a Sharpie so somebody doesn't see it, or take them off.
But fortunately, she sort of she eggs you on. She encourages your purchasing.
That's all about timing. That's all about timing. You got to pick your battles.
Yeah.
Like the Cabats, that wasn't me. I mean,
I want to talk about that in a minute.
That wasn't me. That was her. She saw them, and she appreciates nice things, and she says, "I'm going to own one of those one day." I'm like, okay. And that was at SHOT Show. We were at SHOT Show. It was before. God, I can't remember what year it was. Maybe 13, 14.
She doesn't own one. She owns
several. A lot, more than $500,000 worth. Yeah.
But the John Wick safe probably tided her over for a while.
No. She likes the movie because it's a love story to her. And
it's a love story to me.
Yeah.
The man and his dog.
Man and his dog. And she, I bring it up. If I want to make her cry, all I have to do is say Daisy, because that's the name of the dog. And I'll do it just to irritate her. But yeah, that she likes that. Then she says, "Is that John Wick?" And she said, "Get it." Okay, boss. So I'll get it. And there's only one that I don't have yet, and it's the 308. And it was in the new Ballerina. I have most of the guns from Ballerina because they're usually a pre-sequel from the other movie. So I don't have the 308 yet. I'm sure she'll make me do that at some point.
Wow. And those guns, those John Wick guns, are not just cool looking. They're awesome to shoot, right?
Oh, they're fantastic. Yeah. I mean, say what you want, but they're damn good guns.
Yeah.
It's very impressive. I mean, they can make a bad shooter look good.
Yeah.
And I'm not the greatest shooter. I'm not the greatest pistol shooter in the world. I'll admit that all damn day. I shoot better carbine and long rifle than I do pistol.
Yeah.
All damn day. I mean, I can hit the target, but I may just irritate them because I'm wounding the shit out of them.
I'm sort of opposite of that. Like, of course, I can shoot a carbine and a long gun better, rifle better than a pistol, but comparatively speaking, I'm a better pistol shooter because that's what I have the most time on.
Which makes sense. Totally makes sense. Yeah. And you'd think if I had a pistol range, I could be able to knock the shit out. No. I'm usually on, give me a carbine before you give me a pistol. Give me an MP5 before you give me a pistol. I prefer that.
For people,
go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you, brother.
No, go ahead.
For people who haven't heard of Cabat, tell us about how that subscription works.
So my buddy who owns a store in Ohio called Black Rose is where I bought a lot of my guns because he got you a lot of unique stuff. And he told me that a gentleman was getting rid of his subscription from Cabat. I said, "What are you talking about subscription?" He says he's number 7 and he wants to get out of it. And I was like, "Do you want in it?" And I said, "What's this going to cost me?" You know, I'm looking at the dollar sign. And then so I brought it to her attention, and then we went down that rabbit hole of trying to do the research. And basically at that time, there's 25, right now there's 25 people on the list. And they're stopping at 25. They're still going to have the Cabat of the month, but they're just stopping at 25. And basically I've been told 2,500 to 30,000 people on a waiting list to get on it. So I get serial number 7 every time, which is a damn good number, I think, because it's lucky number 7. Lucky number 7.
Yeah.
I prefer 1, but you know, beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah.
Now, ever since we started that, I think it was 2022-ish, and we just started getting one every month. Of course, you pay for it. Now, you and I are the same age, so you remember the cassettes back when you paid, I think it was a penny.
Oh, yeah.
And you get maybe 5 cassettes. I can't remember what it was. And this is basically the same thing, but this one yearly will cost you between 120 to 150 grand a year. A lot different than the old cassettes back in the day.
I think I still owe them some money, the old cassette.
The cassette, I probably do too.
That's why they probably won't.
Never skipped. Sound quality sucked though. But anyway, it's kind of like that type of thing. And then I've been offered by people to buy our spot. I'm like, oh, I'll be a dead man.
Yeah.
So that's not going to happen. So it's unique subscription, and they use different materials, Damascus, different type of grips, you know, mammoth molar grips, mammoth bone, you get meteorite. Crazy rare stuff. And now I'm seeing that in the industry, a lot of people are going down that road or making 1911s.
Mm-hmm.
I saw one that had T-Rex grips on it. I'm like, I want that because it says T-Rex.
But the Cabat is not all 1911s, right?
No, they have 2011. They're just coming out with the 2011 stuff. And I dig it a lot. Everybody can, I mean, the old school guy in me likes to 1911.
Yeah.
You know, but you get down to, you know, then it came out to the 1911, turning 9mm. I'm like, really? But I understand it now. I didn't appreciate it then.
Yeah.
But I understand it now, shooting it and everything else. I get it. More rounds. I get all that. I mean, there's a big debate on 45 and 9.
Yeah.
You can go down that road. But no, they make quite unique guns. Like they made the meteorite guns. I think they sold them for $4 million.
One of them was Damascus, or probably more than one of them. One of them you showed me. I mean,
oh yeah, that one. Yeah,
could be the most beautiful pistol I've ever seen.
Yes, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Full Damascus with the clear grips. Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones. And it's funny that you said that because I was talking to him about that, the owner of it, and I said I'd love to make a gun similar to that with my name on it. And he said, okay. And I told him what I wanted and everything else. And he came back. He says, I think we're going to make some guns after you. I'm like, really? I wouldn't ask him for that. So that's supposed to happen next year. We'll see. It's in the works.
You know, if you hook me up with like a 99% discount, I bet I could afford one of those.
Yeah.
So we'll talk.
Okay, we'll talk.
After.
We'll talk.
No, very cool subscription. If you can afford that, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, I can't take any credit for it. To be honest with you, that's her. I love the guns and everything else. I like shooting them. But yes, that's her. That's not me.
Is it a surprise when it comes in every month, or do you know what you're getting?
It's a surprise when you see the price tag. Like I got the phone call today, as a matter of fact, on the next one coming in, Damascus slide and everything else. And he's like, it's coming. And I said, okay. And he knows what my next question is. So he always puts that in there. I said, how much? And he says 20. I said, okay, 20 cents? Nope. Maybe for a piece of it.
Oof.
Yeah. So it's not cheap, but it's the investment. If you look at it down the down road, you know, unfortunately in this day and age, it takes something bad with a gun to make our gun values go up, but they never go down.
What do you think? And this may be, you don't have to answer this obviously, but as a former cop, I sometimes ask personal questions.
No, you're good.
What do you think may be the value of your most expensive firearm that you own?
As far as modern, 45 grand is the pistol.
And you bring up another point. You also have some historic firearms.
Right. And I'm not the expert on that. The boss is. I always say it's because she was there then.
I'm sure that goes over.
Oh yeah,
well.
it goes over really well. I catch shit for that every time, and I tell her that. I've said that in videos many times. But no, she's really, really good at that stuff. She's been around it a lot longer than I have. She was collecting that before we even met, so she knows much more about it. I can't take any of the credit on that. She's taught me a lot from that.
You have quite a knife collection as well.
Yeah, that just started.
Yeah,
I'm learning those.
yeah.
And we've got We Knife was actually out here a couple weeks ago, and they're actually coming out knife next year, based off of a Vietnam knife that I like so much that's in the other room that I forgot to show you. We designed it after that knife, so that my knife will be coming out. I think it'll be Damascus blade and stuff like that. It'll be coming out probably February next year.
Wow, I'll be looking for that.
Yeah,
I might be able to afford a knife.
Yeah, I'll help you out. There's gonna be 150 of them, I think, and they're all gonna be serialized.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
That's super cool. I know that you have some other hobbies, some other things that you collect specifically. I've seen some very cool like arcade games.
Yes.
Some pinball machines.
That's just me being a kid again.
John Wick pinball machine.
Yes.
Talk just a little bit about that.
Well,
it was an easy sell because it's John Wick, right?
Oh yeah. That was, well, what was done was, it was funny. It became available and it was serial number 5. I wanted 1, of course. You want a lower serial number.
Yeah.
Those were unattainable. And they come in different stages, 1, 2, and 3. And we got the 3 is the one that has all the goodies on it. All depends on what you get and what you want at the time. And I talked to our bookkeeper at the time and I said, I need a blank check to go to an arcade store, which is not very wise to give me a blank check to go to the arcade store because I'm going to buy more shit. There was a Star Wars pinball machine I really wanted, but it was 50 grand. I'm like, no.
Yeah, you're not putting the money in the machine for quarters.
No, I'm not making my money back on it. So yeah, I got that, but then I had to buy something else that had Galaga, the old Space Invaders, that stuff that you and I used to play. You kind of go in that rabbit hole if you want to play that old stuff.
Yeah. And
I still catch myself doing it. There was a Black Knight, and she's a big fan of the opera. So I arranged to have that one found. Because I have a buddy of mine who's a cop, who's a narcotics guy, who on his off days would work on pinball machines. So he would help me. He's retired now in Florida, but he would help me locate these pinball machines. And he would knows how to fix them. So if I screw it up, he can fix it. So there was another one, a Black Knight, that she told me a story like a long time ago. She used to, when she was a kid, she'd go to the local store, walk across the river and go play this, put her quarters in there and have a few drinks while she does it. And I remember that story, and so I found it, and I said, "Can you get me this?" And he says, "Yeah." He says, "I found it." I said, "Buy it." And I said, "We had it shipped out, and I had it surprised her with that."
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Sometimes I do listen.
Yeah, sometimes.
You know what I mean. Yeah.
It helps once in a while.
It does. It does. Keeps you out of the doghouse.
So getting back to red dots, what was one of the first Aimpoint optics that you remember using?
P2. Really. It's my go-to. I mean, there was other companies I went to first, and it was before I went down that rabbit hole to Aimpoint. But then I started messing with it. I was like, oh, I like these a lot more.
Yeah.
And then I started messing with the P2s and the C2s a lot, and I really like the C2s a lot.
Yeah.
Because I'm a carbine guy. But the P2 for sure, because I lean towards the carbines because I'm a better carbine shooter than a pistol, and I should probably train more on pistol. Totally agree with it.
We all like to train on what we're better at.
Yes, exactly. So, I'll pick the same gun and I shoot long distance every time just because I know the gun. I know where it's zeroed. I know everything about it. It's kind of hard to do that when you own 600 guns.
Yeah.
So probably the P2 and the C2 are my 2 most favorites that's why I'm just like, I'll talk to them. I want to buy like 6 of them. Because I know I got like carbines, because I don't like a gun without an optic on it. It drives me nuts. Yeah. It needs to have the furniture on it so I can use it. So I don't want to have to grab it from another gun, put it on that gun. So I want an optic, like a P2 or C2, when every one of my carbines are pistols. This makes things a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Have you had a chance to mess with the Kowa very much yet?
Yeah, I've shot it a couple times. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I dig that much better than the other ones that are out there for sure. Shoots slick, and I'm a Glock guy, so you can't go wrong. And my 19 doesn't. They don't have red dot.
Yeah, yeah.
My carry does not have a red dot, so kind of sucks.
I have a 48 with a Kowa on it. And my buddy shot it the other day, and he had been wanting to shoot the Kowa, but he hadn't had a chance. And he was kind of amazed. He's like, "It's like the dot's just floating there."
Right there.
It's because the housing is not a half an inch thick all the way around.
Right.
So,
No, 1000%.
so it's much easier to pick up. So yeah, huge fan.
Oh,
Obviously,
huge.
it's doing phenomenally well.
Right.
It's been a great collaboration, I'm sure, for both Glock and Aimpoint. So
Correct. And I saw it at SHOT Show. I kind of dig that. I was like, ooh, I want one. And of course I couldn't. They're hard to get at the time.
Yes.
But now they're pretty
very
easy.
much.
Yeah, everybody's like, where did you get one? I'm like, no. I mean, I got neighbors who are asking me about it. And I had a neighbor actually come over 2 days ago who used to be for Lockheed and CIA. He says, did you get it? And I said, yeah. And he said, I want to shoot it. So he shot it. He's like, okay, I'm going to get one.
Yeah. And it's cool the way it mounts. I mean, that A-cut and everything is,
yes.
There's so many of those that I've seen and dealt with where the optic is always mounted to the slide, and then the screws break or they're not the right size. There's just so many things that can go wrong.
Yeah.
It's just such a smart design. I was had a chance to see the Koa before it was released.
Right.
Being a gun writer, I was able to do that, and I knew right away. I'm like, this is going to be a huge hit. So
right. It took off. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We knew it would. We knew it would. Yeah.
So if someone is interested in starting a firearm collection, and I know you're like, don't do it.
Well, just be ready. If you're going to go down the rabbit hole, I mean, I know for a fact, and I know these guys, I've met some of these, they have 10 times better collections than I do. I mean, Tommy gun guys, they usually specific on what, 1911 guys, Tommy gun guys, they collect certain ones. And I get it, totally get it. And there's much better collections than I have. The only thing I would say is insurance. Cover your ass on your insurance is number one. Make sure you got it covered. God forbid anything ever happens. Figure out how you want to display it, because this kind of could stress you out how you want to display it. Because it's like, I didn't know, do I put calibers, makes with makes, styles and stuff. You don't know. So I end up going like shotgun wall, H&K wall, F1 go, went that was the only way I could do it. It's funny because when we did the Cabat room, we were all scratching our head, how do we want to do this? And so we just did it by month by the, so there's a lot of thought that needs to go into it, how you want to display it. But decide what kind of guns you want to go down the rabbit hole with. You go to the cheap ones, which there's nothing wrong with that. Cheap ones can always be worth a lot more money down the road. Especially if you get serial numbers. I'm a big serial number guy because I was trained that way. Look at the serial numbers and see if you can get as low a serial number as you can, because that makes it worth more money down the road. So I tell people, number one, insurance, how you're going to display it, and how you want to go about doing it.
Does the value of your firearms fluctuate quite a bit?
Oh yeah.
Like the housing market, sort of? I mean,
I get these auction books from like Poulin and Rock Island, and I look at those. Those are a good resource of what things are going for. And then I'll fold the pages of guns that I own, and I'll go back and see what they went for, if that makes sense. So I've seen them, like there's one in there, that gun, I don't have it open right now. I think I paid $11 for. Now I heard it's on Gunbroker for $30. But I didn't do the research myself. I've had 3 other people tell me that don't know each other.
That brings up another question.
Dollars?
No. Do you ever sell any guns?
No. If I have doubles, let's say if I have 5 ARs, they're all black and they're all the same color. Yeah. Oh, and again,
it's like baseball cards.
Yeah, exactly.
Why do you need? And triples,
if you have a bunch of Mickey Mantles, don't blame you. You may or may not sell those. But as far as the collecting goes, to go back on that, I always tell the guys, if your wife doesn't, you don't want your wife to know, buy all the same color guns. She doesn't know which one's new. If you buy an one that's FDE, she's gonna know.
Yeah.
So buy one, but if you buy a gun that you really, really want, and you think she may like it, buy her gun, but tweak it a little bit. Put diamonds in the sights. I've done that. And it's actually fairly cheap to do.
I used to be a jeweler back in the day, so I know how to set diamonds. I mean, never set them in gun sights before, but
I walked in.
Challenge.
I walked into a jewelry store with a gun. Luckily, I know the guy who owns the jewelry store, and he says, "Why are you bringing a gun?" And I've forgotten about this when I did this. He got robbed like 2 months prior to that, and it was a Walter, is what it was, and it had night sights on it. And he says, "What do you want?" I said, "I need you to put diamonds in the sights." I'm like, "You serious?" So they had to send it off to get the, what do they call that stuff that's in the night sights?
Tritium.
Tritium. Take it all out. And they freaked out because I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
So they took it all out to put the diamonds. The only thing I would have done different for the guys down the road, if you want to know, You could put 2 white diamonds in the back, but put a red ruby in the front. I did not do that.
That's
I wish I did. But it's actually fairly cheap. It's cheaper than buying sights.
Well, with the 3 diamonds, it's just too much bling.
Exactly. It's kind of blinds you.
Yeah.
So you do the mag release with a diamond on it, with gold on it. Bling it out a little bit so you don't get in so much trouble when she sees the price of your gun.
What are you interested in right now in adding to your collection?
It's kind of tough, and this is going to sound braggy, and I'm horrible for saying this. It's hard to find something I don't already own. So when I go to SHOT Show or NRA, nothing really wows me. And that's why I always say I would never want to be in the gun industry, because you got to stay ahead of the game. You've seen it. I mean, somebody's got, like, when the binary triggers came out, that was a big wow. Yep. You got to have 100 CNC machines and 20 engineers that know what the hell they're doing, that thinks of crazy shit that you can't think of. So I would never get into that industry. But there's one particular thing that I got my eye on, and I can just try, like I told you about this before, and I'm trying to get him to do it, is the Gatling gun 12 gauge. It's a lot of money. It would be a lot of money for people to buy, but there's going to be a lot of those crazy bastards like me, that old timers, especially if they can mount it on something, that are going to want it. They're going to want to go duck hunting with it. They're going to want to do, crazy. We can go down a rabbit hole.
Is what I need. Instead of more training, I need one of those for.
Well, a mutual friend of ours named Andrea, that you and I both know, claims that she's really good with a shotgun, and I think that's the only thing she's going to be able to hit anything with, is something like that. So
she's going to see this, right?
Oh, I don't care. So that was the whole point. So maybe she'd have a better luck with it of hitting something. But if somebody would just develop that, I mean, I know if the company that I talked to, Titman, get me started, would build that. I think a lot of people, you build it, they will come, type of thing. I think that would take off. Something like that. I like to have the industry just to think out of the box a little bit. Get out of the, don't do what everybody else does.
Yeah.
Do something that not your average, why do we want to do this? Why do we want to build
You just got to convince them that you're not the only crazy son of a gun that's going to buy it.
Yeah. And I think once they see that, somebody sees that on a YouTube video, I think somebody's going, when you have, 50 rounds of dragon breath coming out of a Gatling gun.
Yeah.
It's kind of ridiculous.
How often are you filming new content for YouTube?
We're doing about once a month, and depending upon what we feel like doing, we kind of play with it a little bit, see what people like. We tried to do one video series of shooting every gun in my collection. We did 30 videos in one day, and that was hard. We was like, we're not doing that anymore. A, they didn't do that well. B, it's just pain in the ass.
Yeah, it is.
Because on the YouTube side, on the shorts, you get subscribers, not much money. Mm-hmm. But on the longs, you get more money, but not as many subscribers. But the shorts, you get a lot of subscribers. I think my first video, God, I wish I could go back and do it again. I got 11.7 million views and 70,000 subscribers in my first short. My very first video that I would love to go back and do all over, because that
Did you think, oh my God, this is easy?
After that or now?
No, right then. After that was your first
No,
experience.
I sucked at it. I mean, it took me all day to do 1 minute. Because, I'm not a camera guy. I'm not used to being in front of the camera. It's just not my thing.
Well, you seem pretty used to it now. I'm
getting used to it now. And they told me that it was going to take time. It's a weird, the gun industry, as far as YouTube, is very difficult to do. You can't show full auto. They won't monetize it. You could buy, like everybody's like, why don't you have any full auto? I said, well, I got some full auto, but I can't, what's the point of showing on YouTube if I'm just going to get demonetized and I'm not going to get paid for it? What's the point?
You and I talked a little bit about full auto earlier, and I was telling you that, on our SWAT team, we had, carbines that were full auto, but we virtually only used them. We used them a lot for the patrol guys who didn't have as much time on the carbines.
Right.
And we used it as a way to check their stance and their
sense.
Grip and everything, because that
everybody rides up
a better stance. But as far as when we're actually doing operations, it's like semi-auto.
Right.
Semi-auto. You can shoot as fast as you need to. I'm not saying there's no application for full auto. It's fun. It's a great training tool. And for, military applications and even some law enforcement applications, I can see it. I can
totally see it.
But for the most part, semi-auto is going to be
semi-auto. I mean, like I told you before, full auto is cool. I love it. I think it's cool. I mean, if you want to, dump ammo in our ammo killers.
Yeah. I
mean, if you have an unlimited amount of ammo in your life, then knock yourself out. Get it. Play with it. But it's hard for me to see you spend $500,000 on a gun that's just going to sit on your wall that when your buddies come over, hey, I got a new full auto, you want to shoot it? And you shoot it for 10 seconds, you put it back on the wall.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's pointless.
Yeah.
I'd rather spend that money, that $500,000 or whatever on the ranch, or, you know, put that money more towards something much better investment, I guess you would put it. But yeah, full auto, I like it. I like shooting it, but you just put it right back on your wall, guys. I mean, I get it for, you know, suppressing fire for the military. I get all that. Everybody's like, you need to get a minigun. No. Yes, I like them. I like shooting them. But why should I actually go? If I have buddies that own that stuff, why should I go buy it?
Yeah.
I can just go shoot theirs. And I don't have to buy the ammo.
That's probably what they think about you too.
I don't care.
Why do they need to double up on?
Yeah, and I really don't care. If they want to do that, I really wouldn't give a shit. Because I know that.
How often do you have buddies that are like, hey, can I come and shoot?
Not as often as you would think.
Okay.
Most of them who are current cops and stuff like that, yes. But I offer it a lot to people who don't know what, like, they want to buy a pistol, but they don't know what they want. And to me, pistols are like shoes. You don't know until you try them on.
Yeah, you got to see how it fits.
You got to see how it fits. So I'm like, I have every caliber you can think of in pistol, probably just about every pistol brand pretty much out there, and come to my house and try it and see if you like it. And most of them are their husband with their wives or whatever, and they want to try it and say if they are 12 gauge. They never shot 12 gauge before. They want to shoot a 12 gauge. I'll let them shoot the 12 gauge. You know,
that's
stuff like that. Stuff that you don't know till they try it. And they have to be friends of mine to do that. I'm just not going to let somebody off the street do it. But yeah.
So I take it you buy ammo in bulk.
Yes. I usually do. It depends. I bought this was like 12 years ago, 10,000 rounds of 50 for a quarter a round. God. And actually, we were in a race at Atlanta, a Le Mans race, and I got the phone call and they said, "Do you want it?" I said, "I'll buy it all." But that I didn't know at the time was at the same auction that they had all in the same next semi-trailer over, all the dies, all the reloading equipment, everything for 50 and everything else. I would have bought that too. But I try to buy in bulk of something I'm going to shoot 9. I bought 22. I bought 10,000 rounds of 22 accidentally once. And yeah, I had to explain that.
Accidentally.
Well, you've been in front of the TV and you're like thumbing through and your phone remembers your credit card.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't check your order. I wanted to buy 1,000. I actually had and I said, just pay the
extra
damn bill.
zero?
Yeah, extra zero. I didn't mean to. It was a legit mistake. Sometimes they're not legit mistakes, but that was
legit.
Yeah, it was a legit mistake. I told her about it the next day. And it was a bunch of subsonic.
But you can't go wrong with that. The only thing is storing it someplace, but you got room to store it.
No, I got room to store it. I usually use all the gun safes for storage or hide stuff that I don't want seen on YouTube, stuff that doesn't need to be seen.
That's another thing too that's interesting. You have a big YouTube presence and you have a big firearm collection. But what would you caution people about if they do have a lot of firearms as far as from a security standpoint? And I know this place is like Fort Knox,
right?
And but you're also, it sounds weird to say this, but you're discreet, even though you have a YouTube channel,
right?
But how concerned should people be about that? I would say very concerned as a former cop. But
yeah, I'm very concerned all the time. Like when I'm out of town, I make sure neighbors are watching out. I mean, I knew you were coming down the driveway before you knew you were coming down the driveway.
Yeah,
I knew that.
Yeah, you met me there before. I don't even think I had the car in park.
Yeah.
I was gonna text you first and say, "It's me, don't shoot."
Yeah, but no. That's why I've had some people like, "Don't go down the driveway," because I have a sign that says, "If you can read this, you're in range."
I saw that.
Yeah. So I've had people like leave stuff in the mailbox because of that, and which I didn't mean to do that. It's just I actually thought it was a cool sign. That's the reason I bought it.
Yeah.
But but I mean it at the same time. But I usually know, I got bored once. I was sitting in my PJs and I zeroed out everything around my house with the gun. And I got it dialed in the dope book of one of my guns, of what
that makes sense.
One of my long guns to do. But yeah, I know when somebody's walking in the yard before they know I know.
Some people would call that crazy. I call that prepared.
Yeah, I mean, when you have this much shit, you want to use your head. I mean, I've got cameras everywhere, cameras that you can't even see. And I get notifications. So if I'm out of town and she's home alone, I make sure everything is taken care of. And the local cops know what I have. And there's some guys who used to be cops or used to be ex-military that live in the neighborhood know. So things are pretty much covered.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, you've humored me by answering all my questions about your firearms collection. I'm going to humor you a little bit as we start to wind down. And I want you to talk a little bit about cars, because I know that's another passion of yours.
Oh, you want to go down that road?
Keep in mind, I know less about cars than I do firearms. So
you know Crown Vics, because that's what you used to drive.
Yeah, I know Crown Vics and Ford Explorers.
Yeah, but you don't know the Caprice. You probably didn't drive the Caprices.
For a short time, I did.
Yeah, and that was what the one everybody wanted.
Yeah.
Because of the way they ride.
Yep.
The cars are, that's really my forte. I mean, especially the German stuff, because I worked at Porsche for a little bit. It was at a dealership. We had Porsche, Mercedes, Toyota, and Buick, which is odd.
What did you do there?
So it's funny, because for a hobby, I used to detail cars.
Okay.
And I did it because my dad was a perfectionist, and he got me into it to where, you're taking, we're using Play-Doh to get in the vents, to get the dust out of the vents, smashing the Play-Doh.
Interesting.
Stuff like that. He would taught me just different little things to do, because that's the way he was brought up. So I was doing Porsches at the local dealership, and I did it just for fun. I mean, I was getting paid for it, but it's Porsche, and I was a big Porsche nut. So I used to do that. I was detailing cars, and they needed a body shop estimator. And I'm like, you want me? And they said, yes, we want you. And I'm like, okay. So I trained at that for the longest time, and I did that. Then one guy quit, and I was doing the body shop managing for a long time, did that. So I got to know the insurance game pretty well, all that kind of stuff. And then I went to the service manager side of Porsche as well, and Mercedes. And so you get a lot of cool people, meet a lot of cool people. Met the guy that invented the candy bar. Shit, I can't think of the name of it. I'm having a brain fart.
We're the same age. It'll come to you. When
I know. It sucks. Heath Bar.
Oh, nice. I love those.
He came in. It's one of those things you don't judge a book by its cover. And this guy fits that perfectly, because he came in, overalls, no shirt. And he wanted to buy a 2 V12 Mercedes back when those were popular. And I introduced him to the guy, and my buddy came up, running up to me and gave me a hug afterwards. And he says, I'm buying you lunch for a week. He had a money belt of $300,000 wrapped around him. And we found out later that was the inventor of the Heath Bar. We didn't know that at the time.
Wow.
We didn't find out until after we sold them the Mercedes. So you never judge it because of that. And so I've learned from that since I was that age, that, you can't do that shit. I mean, you'd be amazed what you see. And so, what you find and people that you meet. So then that dealership got sold, and I worked at Ford, Jeep, Chrysler, Kia when they first came out were junk. Now they're better. And Mitsubishi. So I did with the body shop side of that.
So you were how old when you were working at the Porsche dealership?
Oh God, you would ask me that. I was probably 22.
Okay, and so you were just all about.
I was all about cars. I mean, the guns, were like cool. We're back in the day. I mean, I don't know if you did this. We'd go shooting all the time, because we lived in, we're in the country, in the Midwest. That's what you do. That and shoot bottle rockets at each other, Roman candles. So we used to do that kind of crap too. But, we always went out to the grandpa's house to go, make model boats and throw them in the water and shoot them with 22s, stuff like that. Stupid shit. What kids do. But the cars were the first thing. And I've just always been to that. And when I moved to where I'm at now, that's where I end up messing with cars to this day.
And you have a Porsche that I saw.
Yes. That's one of my favorite cars. It's maybe got 10,000 miles on it. But it's an 07, which I'm fine with that. But I like the old stuff too. This is air-cooled. I like the old air-cooled stuff. I had an air-cooled back in the day. And the sound is different. The Porsche guys know what I'm saying. I mean, the sound is different. The downside by air-cooled, you'd be stuck in traffic and watch that temperature gauge just go up. Because you're not doing 100 miles an hour. Downside is you get pulled over a lot.
Yeah.
Been pulled over quite a few times with those cars. That's why I do now stupid shit where I know people. We got pulled over for doing 140 once. Oof. Yeah. Got out of that ticket, luckily. Because I had a state trooper sitting in his front seat with me as I was doing it.
Okay, yes. That officer stopped you because you allowed him to stop you.
Yeah. I mean, most of them won't go, especially if they're motorcycles. But I have buddies that I would call and say, hey, are you running the speed gun? He says, yeah. I said, I need to see if my speedo is calibrated. If I put new rims on it. He says, where you? I said, I'll ask him where they're at. And he says, is that you doing 100 and something? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe. Okay, this is what you were doing. Is that right? And just keep going. But that's because you know somebody. It's like I said, it's all in who you know, not what you know sometimes. I don't do that much anymore. I used to back in the day. I mean, I get the urge when I jump in it and you feel the turbo winds up or the superchargers wind up. It's hard not to. But I have a little bit more respect because I know, like I said, I know a lot of officers. So I have a little bit more respect. I just won't do it just to take advantage or something like that. Most of them I know if I drive like the big truck, you know, most of them like look at it like, oh my God, is this guy going to be a pain in my ass or is this going to be cool?
That thing is, and we were talking that, you know, the Porsche or your Audis is going to turn some heads.
Yes.
With that big truck, that's something different.
That's something different. Driving that is, that's it. It breaks necks. People look at you like you're an idiot, or people look at you, are you compensating? Or you get the people that usually ex-military, usually the older guys from like Vietnam or the Korean War up, you know that truck because it's a 71. They'll look at it and give you a thumbs up and like, that's pretty kick-ass. Now, if I mount the guns to it, that's a little different. Like we were going to the ranch for an Aimpoint commercial actually, and we had to call the non-emergency number and let them know, hey,
it's giving you a heads up.
Giving you a heads up. I'm driving through town with a 50 and everything else. And the boss actually, there's a statute, you can put the guns on it as long as they're pointed up, if I remember right, and they cannot be loaded.
Interesting.
So now I've gotten to know the cops though, now through those towns, because I go through 2 small towns, and they've actually, like Matt's in town, and they'll actually come up, I'll stop at the Big R or something like that, pick up some equipment or some corn or something for the deer or something, and they'll come up and talk to me because I'll have that. Because you got to drive those trucks. If you don't drive them, they'll just sit there and leak. I mean, we're both 53. You know, we're both 50s. We leak. Yeah. So you know, you got to drive it. Otherwise, it's not good for the cars. And I could say that all daggone day. Like the Porsches, it's not good for the Porsches either. I had to replace the battery in the Porsche the other day, and that's the biggest pain in the ass in the world. Oh, I bet. And that's why we put battery tenders on them and crap like that. But it's not good for the cars to do that. I should be driving them more often. But I don't, because I'm one of those guys that look at the weather app. If there's a chance for hail, that bitch ain't going out.
All right, you're cut off talking about cars now.
Okay.
Back to the firearms.
Yeah.
Are you super meticulous about cleaning and all that stuff? And I know you're not shooting these all the time. But
right. No, there's guns like bell feds. Okay, they get dirty pretty quickly. I bought one of those sonic cleaners. You know, take the optic off.
Use those in jewelry. Yep.
Love them.
Yep.
Makes it 10 times easier. I wish I invented that thing. But there's some guns that I won't clean the suppressors. I never do. There's got to be something wrong or something's got to be funky for me to clean it. I've got buddies who religiously clean them, and I have buddies who say they never clean them. It's up in the air on that. Yeah. But yeah, if there's particular guns like my carry guns or something like that I think is getting it's jamming up, then I will definitely clean them. It's not something I do every single day. There's some guns I haven't even cleaned since I've owned them, and they run just fine. I'm afraid it's like a transmission service on a car. Yeah. If you do a tranny at 150,000 miles on it, you do a service on it, it's going to break.
Yeah, I told you, no more car talk.
But
all right,
that's the same principle. Because on that gun, I'm afraid if I clean it, I'm afraid it's going to jam.
It's awesome.
It's not because the way me taking it apart and putting it back together, it's just it runs. If it's not broken, don't fix it.
Makes sense.
It's the way I look at it.
Well, brother, thanks so much for showing me around.
Anytime.
For spending some time with us here today. Where can people go if they're not familiar with your social media presence? Where can they go to follow what you're doing? So you can follow me mainly on YouTube under The Collector. You can go to my Instagram. The Instagram is, I'm shadow banned on Instagram, so you got to type in my whole name, and I think it's the_collector_YT is what I think it is. But that's where you find me a lot on that. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. Anytime, or for having us here, I should say. No problem. No problem at all. That's a wrap for this episode with The Collector. If this episode resonated with you, be sure and let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe to Aimpoint's Taking Aim podcast. We'll see you next time.